Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to study William Somerset Maugham or W.S. Maugham, who was born on 25th of January 1874 and died on 16th of December 1965. He was an English writer known for his plays, novels, and short stories. He was born in Paris, where he spent his first 10 years. Mom was schooled in England and went to a German university. He became a medical student in London and qualified as a physician in 1897. He never practiced medicine and became a full time writer. Mom's first novel, Lisa of Lambeth, 1897, a study of life in the slums, attracted attention, but it was as a playwright that he first achieved national celebrity. By 1908, he had four plays running at once in the West End of London. He wrote his 32nd play and last play in 1933, after which he abandoned the theatre and concentrated on novels and short stories. Mom's novels after Lisa of Lambeth include Of Human Bondage 1915, The Moon and Sixpence 1919, The Painted Wheel 1925, Cakes and Ale 1930, and The Razor's Edge 1944. His short stories were published in collections such as The Casuarina Tree 1926 and The Mixture as Before 1940. Many of them have been adapted for radio, cinema, and television. His great popularity and prodigious sales provoked adverse reaction from highbrow critics, many of whom sought to belittle him as merely competent. More recent assessments generally rank a book with a large autobiographical element as a masterpiece, and his short stories are widely held in high critical regard. Mom's plain prose style became known for its lucidity, but his reliance on cliches attracted adverse critical comment. During the First World War, Mom worked for the British Secret Service, later drawing on his experiences for stories published in the 1920s. Although primarily homosexual, he attempted to conform to some extent with the norms of his day. After a 3-year affair with Siri Welcome, which produced three daughters, their daughter Lisa, they married in 1917. The marriage lasted for 12 years, but before, during, and after it, Mom's principal partner was a younger man, Gerald Haxton. Together, they made extended visits to Asia, the South Seas, and other destinations. Mom gathered material for his fiction wherever they went. They lived together in French Riviera, where Mom entertained lavishly. After Haxton's death in 1944, Ellen Shirley became Mom's secretary, companion for the rest of the author's life. Mom gave up writing novels shortly after the Second World War, and his last years were marred by senility. He died at the age of 91. In 1897, he published his first novel, Lisa of Lambeth, a tale of working class adultery and its consequences. The Making of a Saint, a historical novel, attracted less attention than Lisa of Lambeth, and its sales were unremarkable. Mom continued to write assiduously, and within 5 years he published two more novels and a collection of short stories and had his first play produced, but a success to match that of his first book eluded him. Between 1903 and 1906, he wrote two more plays, a travel book, and two novels, but his next big commercial and critical success did not come until October 1907, when his comedy Lady Frederick opened at the Court Theatre in London. He had written it 4 years earlier, but numerous managements turned it down until Otho Stewart accepted it and cast the popular Ethel Irving in the title role. It ran for 422 performances at five different West End theatres. By the next year, while the run of Lady Frederick continued, Mom had three other plays running simultaneously in London. Between 1908 and the outbreak of First World War in 1914, Mom wrote a further eight plays, but his stage successes did not completely distract him from writing novels. His supernatural thriller, The Magician, 1908, had a principal character modeled on Aleister Crowley, a well known occultist. Crowley took offense and wrote a critique of the novel in Vanity Fair, charging Mom with varied, shameless, and extensive plagiarism. In the weeks before the war began, Mom had been completing his novel Of Human Bondage. And Of Human Bondage is a Bildungsroman with substantial autobiographical elements. Mom published one of his best novels, The Moon and Sixpence, about a respectable stockbroker who rebels against conformity, abandons his wife and children, flees to Tahiti, and becomes a painter. During the 1920s, Mom published one novel, The Painted Wheel, 1925, three books of short stories, The Trembling of a Leaf, 1921, Trembling of a Leaf, 1921, The Casuarina Tree, 1926, and The Aston, 1928, and a travel book on a Chinese screen, 1922. But much of his work was for the theatre. He wrote seven plays during the decade. The Unknown came in 1920, The Circle 1921, East of Suez 1922, The Camel's Back 1923, The Constant Wife 1926, The Letter 1927, and The Sacred Flame 1928. His longest running play of the decade and his whole career was Our Betters. It was written Our Betters was written in 1915 and staged in New York in 1917 for a satisfactory but not unusual 112 performances. But when produced in West End in 1923, it was played 548 times. In 1930, Mom published the novel Cakes and Ale, his last full-length work of fiction, the historical novel Catalina. He took part in the adaptation for the cinema of some of his short stories, Quartet 1948, Trio 1950, and Encore 1951. The majority of his original plays were comedies, but of his serious dramas, East of Suez 1922, The Letter 1927, and Sacred Flame 1929, ran for more than 200 performances. Among his longest running comedies were Lady Frederick 1907, Jack Straw 1908, Our Betters 1923, and The Constant Wife 1926. William Somerset Maugham published novels in every decade from 1890s to the 1940s. There are 19 in all, of which those most often mentioned by critics are Lisa of Lambeth, Of Human Bondage, The Painted Wheel, Cakes and Ale, The Moon and Sixpence, and The Razor's Edge. Lisa of Lambeth caused outrage in some quarters, not only because its heroine sleeps with a married man, but also for its graphic depiction of the deprivation and squalor of the London slums, of which most people from Mom's social class preferred to remain ignorant. Unlike many of Mom's later novels, it has an unequivocally tragic ending. In Of Human Bondage, influenced by Goethe and Samuel Butler, is a serious, partly autobiographical work depicting a young man's struggle and emotional turmoil. The hero survives, and by the end of the book, he is evidently set for a happy ending. The Painted Wheel is a story of marital strife and adultery against the background of a cholera epidemic in Hong Kong. Again, despite the suffering of main character, there is a reasonably happy ending for the central figure Kitty. Cakes and Ale combines humorous satires on London literary scene and re-observations about love. Like of human bondage, it has a strong female character at its center, but the two are polar opposites. The malign Mildred in the earlier novel contrasts with the lovable and much loved Rosie in Cakes and Ale. Rosie appears to be based on Sue Jones, to whom Mom had proposed in 1913. He observed, I am willing enough to agree with common opinion that of human bondage is my best work. It is the kind of book that an author can only write once. After all, he has only one life. But the book I like best is Cakes and Ale. It was an amusing book to write. The Moon and Sixpence is the story of a man rejecting the conventional lifestyle, family obligations, and social responsibility to indulge his ambition to be a painter. The structure of the book is unusual in that the protagonist is already dead before the novel opens, and the narrator attempts to piece together his story, and particularly his final years in Tahitian exile. The Rangers is the author's last major novel, is described in Sutherland as Mom's 20th century manifesto of human fulfillment, satirizing Western materialism, drawing on Eastern spiritualism as a way to find meaning. Among the best known short stories are Rain, 1921, charting the moral disintegration of a missionary attempting to convert the sexual sinner Sadie Thompson. The latter, 1924, dealing with domestic murder and its implications. The Book Bag, 1932, a story of a tragic result of an incestuous relationship, and Flotsam and Jetsam, 1947, set in a rubber plantation in Borneo, where a dreadful shared secret binds a husband and wife to a mutually abhorrent relationship. Among the short stories set in England, one of the best known is The Alien Con, 1931, where a young man rediscovers his Jewish heritage and rejects his family's effort to distance themselves from Judaism. His aspiration to become a concert pianist ends in failure and suicide. Another English story is Lord Mountdrago, 1939, depicting the psychological collapse of a pompous cabinet minister. Comic stories include Jane, 1923, about a dowdy widow who reinvents herself as an outrageous and conspicuous society figure to the consternation of her family. The Creative Impulse, 1926, in which a domineering authoress is shocked when her mild mannered husband leaves her and sets up home with their cook, and 1933, in which three middle aged friends play highly competitive bridge while attempting to slim until reversals at the bridge table at the hands of an effortlessly slender fourth player provoke them into extravagantly breaking their diets. So, friends, that is all about William Somerset Maugham and his novels, plays, and his works. So, that is all for today. We will meet in the next lecture. Till then, have a good day.